have kind of a silly question for you. I want to ask you how you feel when you hear the word routine. I have so many people that think of a routine as this really structured thing that you can't change, and they want more of the ability to be more spontaneous, and they would never be able to stick to a routine. And then I hear from the other side of people where they're very strict on routines and everything has to be a specific way. And I want to know what you think about it. Does it give you that sense of excitement to find structure in your day, or does it make you want to turn the other way and run as fast as you can? Whether you feel like the free spirit or a very organized person, you can still benefit from routines and use them to create more space and time in your day so that you can stop feeling like you're being pulled in all directions. Because ultimately, that's what we want, is we want more peace in our days, and routines, no matter what you think of them, routines can help you do that. The question is whether your routines should be rigid or flexible. So let's talk about it. Are you ready to stop the chaos, the stress, the overwhelm that's filling your life? I'm Renae Matt, and together you and I are going to build simple routines that are going to change your life. When you put these habits into practice, you're going to be able to organize your life in a way where you can be there for your family, pay off your debt, save money, your house can stay organized, you don't have to stress about what's for dinner, and you still get time for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the Routine Advantage Podcast. Now, the first thing I want you to think about is if you are in the camp of being against routines and feeling like they're too structured for you, I want you to just think about some things that you are already doing in your day that you do consistently. Like maybe it is putting your keys in a certain spot every time you come home, or maybe it is getting ready in the same way. You put your makeup on in the same order, you get your hair done in the same order, you make your lunch and sit down to read a book in the same order. Whatever you're doing, if you do it consistently and you're doing it in the same way, you've already created a routine for yourself without even realizing it. All it is something that you have organized together, and you do it in the same way. I actually looked up some definitions, and the definition of a routine is a sequence of actions regularly followed, or a set sequence in a performance, or the third definition is to organize according to a routine. So you're already doing these things. You are already implementing a sequence of actions in the same order that you regularly follow, whether or not you already realize it. The benefit of being more intentional about routines is that then you can really look at what your priorities are so that you can make sure that you are spending your time the way that you want to be spending your time, not just out of reactions to what's happening around you. And that is what I absolutely love about routines. Even if you're not a structured person, you can use them to your benefit, and you can make them very flexible and work for your life, even if you're spontaneous. The other side of things, if you are a very structured, organized person, you might automatically have more rigid routines. And in that sense, you might want to lean a little bit more to the flexible routines, because you build routines, and sometimes we get in that all or nothing mindset where we have a routine in place and we have to follow it just so. And if we don't follow it the way that we have planned, we feel like we failed. And then we just give up everything, and it's just a lost cause at that point. And that's not the case either. We want to build routines that work for our life, that we can take the tasks and prioritize what's important to us, build routines around the life that we want, and have the flexibility because life happens. So we want to make sure that we can adjust. So what do you think? Do you think that your routines for you should be a little bit more structured? Not necessarily rigid, but a little more structured? Or do you need less structure because you're too rigid and you need to work on more flexibility? All of us are different, and we all have different seasons of life that we need to work on different things. And I can't really answer whether it should be rigid or should be flexible because I don't know you specific to your situation right now. And that is going to be a big thing. So I want to help you work through this on what you should do and how to figure out how to make routines work for you no matter where you are on that spectrum. So I want to talk about 6 steps that we can use to help us go through and create more space and flexibility so that we can understand why we need a routine and plan ahead so that it can work for our own life. So the first thing I want you to do is make sure you grab a paper and pen because you're probably going to want to write all this stuff down. This is a really great time to do a little bit of a journaling session to really get things out on paper and be able to understand where you're at, especially if you feel overwhelmed right now with everything that's going on. If you have so many tasks that you're juggling and you feel like you are just getting pulled in every direction and you're taking care of family, you're taking care of work, you're taking care of the house, you need to go grocery shopping, you need to pay the bills, you want to spend time with your husband, you want to play with your kids, whatever you're trying to do in your life, it's probably a lot. And being able to take a little time to sit down and write all this stuff out is going to help you get organized in a way where you can feel like you can breathe again. So, number 1, I want you to sit down, grab a cup of coffee if you need to. Maybe tea is your thing, whatever you want. Just sit down at a time of day that works for you, where you know that you can have a little time to think about this. You don't want to be doing it when there's chaos around you. If you have to get up a little bit earlier in the morning, maybe you can do it at that time where the house is still a little quiet, or maybe after everybody goes to bed, just sit down when the house is more dark and quiet and just kind of pour this stuff out so that you can start to get some more ideas on where you need to start first. So, number 1, I want you to write down all the things that you are currently doing. So let's say maybe you are overwhelmed with the responsibility of feeding your family. You need to make menus, you need to go grocery shopping, you need to keep the kitchen clean, you need to clean out your pantry, you need to keep up on the fridge, you need to make the breakfasts and the lunches and the dinners and any treats or snacks or bars you need to share for an event, whatever it is, that's a lot to juggle. So I want you to just start writing down everything that you do. Maybe it is your business. Maybe you need to write down all of the different things that you're doing in your business. If it's your home, write down all the things you're trying to take care of in your home. I just want you to brain dump everything out and understand why you feel pulled in all directions. Get it onto paper. What is causing you to feel that way? What are you trying to keep up with? And then number 2, I want you to group similar things together. So if you have, vacuuming the floors, making the beds, you're trying to clean the bathrooms, you're trying to get everything mopped, you're trying to keep up with the laundry, you're trying to do all these different things, bring them into one category. So these are all home tasks. These are cleaning tasks. And then maybe another category might be meal planning tasks. So that would be where your grocery shopping goes. That would be where your food prep goes, all of those things. And start to just organize and categorize all of these different tasks so that you can really see simple lists of where your time is going. Because right now, everything is scattered and we're just trying to keep up with everything. We want to pull them together so that we have more of an alignment on some organization of where we're spending our time. And then number 3, I want you to choose your focus and figure out what are your priorities in those tasks. This is a really great time to kind of weed it out. This is where you're going to look through and you're going to decide what needs to stay. Like, what are the ones that you cannot let go of? What are the ones that could be edited? Maybe you don't have to spend so much time. Maybe you can simplify the process. What can you edit in that task list? What can be delegated to somebody else? What can you either hire out? What can you assign to your husband? What can you assign to any of your kids? What can be taken off of your plate and delegated to somebody else? And then also, what just can be let go of? What are you spending your time on that isn't necessarily a priority for your life right now in this season of life? That doesn't mean it will never be a priority, but what is not necessarily a priority right now? This is where you go through each of those categorized lists and really decide what is most important and what can be taken off of your list. And then we're going to go to number 4. And I want you to ask yourself, what in this area are you trying to achieve? What are you working towards? What is the outcome that you wish you had when you get all of these things accomplished? How would it make you feel when you can keep up with this list? And then number 5, I want you to write down what is happening now. And you're going to ask yourself under each category, what is currently happening? What is holding you back from what you want to be happening? These might be current habits that you're doing. Write down what is not working, where your time is getting wasted. A lot of times it's too much time on our phones. That can be a really big one. Sometimes it's just, if it's disorganized in your laundry room, it's harder to keep up on laundry. So maybe that's something that's preventing you from keeping up with your laundry. Just ask yourself, what is happening that is holding you back from what you are trying to accomplish in that area? And then number 6 is to stack and plan. And this is where we are going to take those categories. So let's take the home category, for example. You have all these different tasks in your home category. You have now prioritized the ones that you really need to be doing, and you can stack them in a way that makes the most sense for you rather than doing all these different things all different times of the day. Try to pair them together in a way where you can get as many of them accomplished or all of them accomplished, depending on what it is. You're going to have to adjust this for your own life, but you want to focus on trying to get them all done at the same time in the same order. That's where that routine comes into play, because we can be more productive and we're not shifting from one thing to another thing to another thing to another thing. If we can get all of the ones in one category done, that becomes our stack. That becomes our routine. That can be one of the things that we plug into our schedule on a specific time to do it. So for instance, my daily 7 home routine, I talk about this one all the time. It is amazing because it takes 7 priority items from your home tasks, the 7 that are most important to you. I don't tell you which 7, I tell you which 7 I do, but I don't tell you which 7 you need to do. But it takes 7 tasks and it pulls them together into a structured routine. So I go in the same order, in the same method every time, but it makes me faster and faster and faster, and it makes it easier when I'm doing it in this structured way where I don't feel like I'm trying to keep up in the house all day. I don't feel like I'm getting pulled in all different directions. When it's time to do my daily 7 home routine, I can just go right into it. I have my trigger task to start me off and I go straight into it. And that allows me, that allows me to get all of my home tasks done at the same time so that I can just roll on with my day and that part is done. takes so much pressure off and it frees up space in my day so that I can focus on other things that I want to be focusing on. And this is what you can do for every area of your life. This is how you can use routines to create more space in your day. And maybe you need to create a couple of different routines because there's so many different things on there. But for instance, if you are working from home and you are organizing all your business tasks, try and do all of your business tasks on your computer at one time. Try and do your projects at one time and pair them together so it makes sense. If you're doing all of your meal planning tasks, if you're in the kitchen cooking dinner, what can you prep for breakfast or lunches the next day? You're already in the kitchen, you're already dirtying dishes, you're already using a lot of stuff. What can you do now while you're waiting for something to boil or saute or bake or cook, whatever you're doing? Can you chop some extra things for the next day? Can you prep some sandwiches while you're waiting for something to come out of the oven? Anything that you can do at the same time in that same category will free up space for you in other ways. And that is when we can do that consistently over and over and create those habits, stack them on top of each other, create a routine out of it. So we just automatically start doing these things to make our lives easier. That is how we can create structured routines that are also flexible for our life. It's not all or nothing. It is not something that we have to be so rigid or we have to be only flexible. We have to have it a certain way. These things will shift, they'll adjust. Seasons of life change. You're going to have to make some changes. But in the meantime, whatever is most important to you now, do it for what works for you now. If things change, do this practice again and figure out what needs to be prioritized, what needs to be shifted for a new season when you enter a new season. That is the benefit of having routines work for you because they're structured for your life, not anybody else's. And I want to encourage you, no matter what you feel about routines, start building them in a way that works for you. Make them to where you can have this little block and have a really productive short amount of time that can just be plugged into your day when it works for you, and it can be flexible, but it's structured. And then as you are planning out your week, it allows you to, rather than having this whole list of to-dos, it just becomes that routine and it's just plugged in on one of your days. So my daily 7 home routine, I no longer have to have my whole to-do list on all the different house chores that need to be done. It's on my calendar when I'm going to be doing it, and all I have to do is daily 7. And that is plugged in on my calendar, and I know exactly what I'm doing. I know it's going to get done. I don't have to be going off of this big long to-do list because it is a routine that has become a part of our life to keep our home tidy with very minimal time. And you can do that in any area that works for you. So you want to have those structured routines that are purposeful, but yet flexible, because life happens. So I hope that was super helpful for you to have those 6 steps to use your routines to free up time in your life. So a quick recap for those for you in case you're writing notes. Number 1, write down all the things you are currently doing. Just brain dump it out. Number 2, group the similar tasks together. Number 3, choose a focus and combine tasks. This is where you prioritize what needs to stay, what needs to be edited, what needs to be delegated, and what just needs to be let go. Number 4, ask yourself, what are you trying to achieve in this area? What outcome are you hoping to have for this area and for these tasks to be accomplished? When they're accomplished, what are you hoping to have as the outcome? Number 5, what is currently happening? Write down what is holding you back from having what you are trying to achieve right now. Is it your habits? What habits are those? Is it things that are in your way or areas of your life that are showing up as obstacles, write down what is preventing you from achieving what you're trying to achieve. And number 6, start stacking and planning. Stack those routines in similar categories and create a plan, a short plan that will allow you to get a lot of those tasks done in the same time frame. Keep it simple, but keep it organized. Create that structure so that you can plug it in on your day, plan out your week, and you have the flexibility with the structure to start creating more space in your days. Did you love that episode or learn something useful? If so, would you do me a huge favor? My goal is to grow this podcast and help as many women as I can break free from the overwhelm so they can truly enjoy their life. The best way for me to do this is for you to leave a 5-star written review on your podcast app and to share this episode with a friend or in your Instagram stories. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next episode. Take care.